everyone. I'm Carlota Pico from the Content Mix, and I'm excited to be here today with Tiffany Mayne, who's Head of Marketing at GB Intelligence Ltd and has over 7 years of experience in marketing and communications. Welcome, Tiffany, and thank you so much for joining us today on the Content Mix.
Hello, thank you for having me.
The pleasure is ours. I can't wait to talk all about events and what coronavirus has meant for the event industry. Okay, but before we move into that chapter of our interview, let's talk a little bit about your background. So what inspired you to pursue a career in marketing in the first place?
Well, I've always been interested in publishing and advertising from an early age, as my dad worked in a publishing company. So that obviously inspired me. He used to take me around the office and get me involved from when I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. I then went on to do a degree in advertising design at the University of South Wales, and I took a keen interest in the marketing modules, and I managed to get a part-time job during university within a digital publishing company who worked with the likes of Cardiff City FC and Swansea City FC. From here then I mainly went on to work in automotive, both commercial and passenger car with brands like Audi, Volkswagen, Ford and Mercedes. And then about 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to further my career, change the industry that I was working in, and I ended up in the events industry, which offered a marketing solution, which I thought was obviously perfect. It goes hand in hand with marketing. So I landed myself the marketing manager position in GB Intelligence Ltd, and then since then I've worked my way up to the head of marketing.
Okay, well, congratulations. What was it like to go from the automotive industry into the event sector?
It's very different. Obviously, you're working B2C and now it's B2B. So there was the change that I had to obviously adapt to. I'd never worked in a B2B industry. So I just had to learn the different ways of marketing. And it was quite tough initially because I was so used to the way that B2C customers engage with your content. But no, it's been brilliant, and I obviously love the hands-on approach to the events industry side of stuff.
Right, absolutely. So let's look back in your career and say that you had to, let's say that you're promoted again to head of global marketing, let's say, and you have to hire somebody for your current role. What type of skills and qualities would you look for in that person now that you have experience both in B2C and in B2B?
I think it's essential to have somebody that's a jack of all trades, because where you're heading up a department, it's you're not just focusing on, say, social media. You need to have your social media experience. You need to have lead generation and strategies as well that you need to be able to implement.
Okay, very interesting. Now moving into your area of expertise within the event sector, I do want to talk a little bit about how coronavirus has affected in-person events worldwide. So as we all know, in-person events worldwide have been canceled, and many have turned to webinars and digital events as a different solution that they can offer to their audience and to attract new customers. What did your company do overnight to adapt to the current health crisis?
Well, COVID obviously massively impacted us, and we had to change our whole business model to be able to adapt pretty much overnight. So we work closely with a number of other departments, especially our production team, and we've been able to execute a digital side to our business with the option to now host virtual events. One of those types of events we've been focusing on is our digital boardrooms, which allows solution providers to come down and speak about a topic that's really interesting for our community and offer that solution to be able to help. So we have small boardroom discussions that allow for these conversations to take place with IT leaders as well, which is brilliant, and we're finding those very successful at the moment. And then we have as well ventured out into a full-blown week virtual event. So it takes place over a number of 4 days where we'll host keynote sessions, interactive discussions, panel debates, kind of what we would have done in mainstream events, but we've now gone virtually. And I think it is like people are obviously fighting for that voice online, but in our case, like I think we've nailed it in terms of being able to provide what our community need throughout this.
Very interesting. So I do want to zoom into an event that it looks like you'll be hosting in September 7th, 2020. According to your website, it's a CIO event in Oxford. What will that look like? Is that going to be a digital event? Is that going to be an in-person event?
So that is going to be our CIO Institute event. It will take place over 4 to 5 days. We'll have a number of different sessions, like I mentioned previously, where it'll be keynote sessions where we'll get either industry leader speakers or our solution provider speakers. We'll have those smaller boardroom discussions and panel debates. They obviously, you can understand how they can go massive with people having different opinions and different views on situations throughout COVID. So yeah, those will take place over a number of days. But whilst that's going on, we facilitate one-to-one meetings as well. So our Oxford one is going to be mainly focusing on the UK market. And then, but previously we've already done a Germany one, and we've done another UK one. Okay. But going forward to this year, we've got a number of different ones, regionally focused in the south of Europe, France and Benelux as well. So there's a number of different regionalized events that we, again, our communities together to be able to speak about the discussions that are impacting them during COVID.
Webinars as a solution to in-person events have become the norm during the health crisis, but brands, as you said, are having to fight now more than ever to have a voice online. So Tiffany, from your expert opinion, what can brands do to make their webinar or online event really stand out?
I think in our case, and speaking about our brand, personalizing our events has been the best way forward, as it's provided our customers with the best way to network with their peers.
Definitely, Tiffany. For me, networking is actually one of the best ROIs that I get from in-person events. And if you're able to transfer that to online events, I mean, it's a win-win solution, both for your attendees who are attending those digital events and also for the company because you're providing value. And that's what it's all about, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Moving into our next question. Virtual or hybrid events, do sponsorship techniques, performance on screen rather than live, augmented and virtual reality. Many see the COVID-19 crisis as a catalyst for innovation. What major lessons have you learned, Tiffany, about marketing for an event company during these very unstable times?
I think adaptability is key throughout all of this, listening to our customers and providing them with the digital solutions that they need, and just a lot more flexibility. I feel like with a virtual event, you don't have to leave the office, so you can join a virtual event, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, a couple of hours, out of your day. You can then always go back to work. And what we've tried to do as well is we won't have back-to-back sessions like you would in a normal event. So you've got that break to be able to go back to work, do what you need to do, but then come back and join the next session or the next meeting. So we're finding that really works well.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point, because oftentimes when I attend events, I love events. I love organizing events. I love participating in events. And when I'm participating in events, I often see that it interrupts a lot my schedule, both my personal schedule and also my professional schedule. Whereas digital events, I mean, I can attend digital events from the comfort of my own home and still take care of my personal things while at the same time still get work done from the office, which is my home right now.
No, exactly. And that's where we've had a major uplift in attendees really at our events.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, awesome, Tiffany. Let's finish this section off with a practical example. Which marketing campaigns have you admired lately and why?
Thinking about that, the one that sticks in my mind is definitely the Budweiser advert. They've readapted it to the current situation, and I just think it will remind people of when it was first released. I mean, it's just brilliant. I love it, and it sticks in my head.
Excellent. it ties nicely with your response from before about adaptability. So Budweiser really took a campaign that they released ages ago and decided to adapt it to current times. And therefore, it was relevant for their current audience, and their audience was able to relate to that campaign. For
Definitely.
example. So, Tiffany, moving into the last section of our interview, it's our set of rapid fire questions. So, basically, your recommendations to our audience. To get this section started off, I'd like to ask you about your favorite event at the moment. And obviously, feel free to give a shout out to any of your own events.
Obviously, I'm going to give a shout out to GB Intelligence Ltd. We've come a long way throughout COVID, so that's brilliant. But definitely, drum marketing is one of my recommendations, especially throughout this time. It's a company that I highly recommend following. It empowers marketers by providing insights through digital, creative, advertising, anything media related. And back in, I think it was March this year, they held a digital transformation festival, which provided a lot of content around what was happening during the situation and how marketers could adapt throughout it. So definitely drum marketing.
Okay, excellent, Tiffany. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on the Content Mix. It was awesome to meet you and to learn about your experience.
Thank you again for having me. It's been brilliant to speak to you.
My pleasure has been mine. And to everybody listening in today, thank you for joining us on the Content Mix. For more perspectives on the content marketing industry in Europe, check out the Content Mix. We'll be releasing interviews just like this one every week, so keep on tuning in. Thanks again. Have a fabulous day and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.